All right, let's get into it. We're about to crack the code on one of the most famous pieces of music ever. I'm talking about a tune that's basically a real-life video game power-up. And trust me, once you see how it works, you're going to start hearing it absolutely everywhere.
You've heard this, right? That dum-da-da-dum, that steady beat, and that melody that just kind of sneaks into your head and refuses to leave. But here's the crazy part. How on earth did someone take one simple little tune and turn it into this massive 15-minute epic that just keeps building and building? Well, that's exactly the mystery we're going to solve.
So, the person who came up with this wasn't your typical composer. Honestly, think of him more like a master architect, or maybe even a brilliant game dev. He was a guy who just loved a good challenge, and his name was Maurice Ravel.
So let's get to know this guy, Maurice Ravel. Okay, yeah, he was a French composer born way back in 1875, went to a super famous music school, but that's the boring stuff. What you really need to know is that this dude was obsessed with precision. Seriously, like a programmer making sure every single line of code is perfect. That's how he approached music.
All right, so this brings us to what I'm calling the one-tune challenge. Ravel decided to build a masterpiece using some crazy simple rules. This wasn't just about writing music, it was like he was setting up an experiment for himself.
Okay, get ready for this, because Ravel's rules for Boléro were, well, they were kind of nuts. Rule number 1, you get one melody. That's it, just one. Rule 2, you get one steady drum beat that cannot change, ever. Rule 3, repeat them over and over and over again. And the final rule, the only change you're allowed to make, it just has to get louder. That's the entire game plan. It's so simple, it's brilliant.
And you know what's funny? Ravel himself joked about it. He called it a piece for orchestra without music. He knew exactly what he was up to. He was getting rid of all the complicated stuff you usually find in music to see if he could make something totally epic from almost nothing. It was like he was testing the limits of what music could even be. So let's talk about the secret weapon here. If you can't change the melody, and you can't change the speed, how do you make it so unbelievably intense? Well, Ravel had a trick up his sleeve. It's called the orchestral crescendo. So what is a crescendo? The dictionary definition is just a gradual increase in volume. Kind of boring, right? Let's use a better analogy. It's the ultimate musical power-up. You know, like when you're leveling up in a game. That's what a crescendo is. You're leveling up the sound. The piece starts out super quiet. We're talking level 1. It's just a single flute playing that melody so softly you almost have to turn your headphones all the way up. That's it. That's where the mission begins. And from there, we start leveling up the sound. First, the flute starts the mission. Then, boom, level 2. A clarinet joins the team. Then a bassoon jumps in, adding a totally new vibe. Before you know it, the horns are here bringing the power, and then the strings come in like this huge wave of sound. It's like building an all-star team, one player at a time. And you can literally see it right here. Look at this. The volume just grows and grows. It starts out low, works its way through the middle, and by the end, it's just at max volume. It's this one long, unstoppable climb in energy. And the wildest part, the rhythm never changes, the speed never changes. The only thing that changes is that it just gets bigger. That's what's so genius about it. Everything else stays the same. It just gets more and more powerful. So why is this piece still so legendary? I mean, it's almost 100 years old. It's because Boléro's formula, well, it's everywhere. Seriously. Just look at this comparison. On one side, you've got Boléro. Steady rhythm, repeating melody, adding new instruments, big finale. Now look at how a modern hit song is built. You've got a driving beat, a super catchy chorus that repeats, you layer in synths and vocals, and it all leads up to the big drop. See? It's the exact same playbook. What Ravel did was create a masterclass in building tension. And that idea has influenced everyone. Movie directors, game designers, music producers, they all use this trick to get you on the edge of your seat. All right, so let's get to the final takeaway. What's the one big thing you really need to remember from all this? It's this. The biggest impact can come from the simplest idea, as long as you build it with genius and, you guessed it, precision. Ravel proved you don't need a ton of complicated stuff to make something unforgettable. So now that you know the secret, now that you know how this whole musical power-up works, where are you going to hear Boléro's influence next? In a movie trailer? A video game soundtrack? That song that's all over TikTok?
Listen for it. You'll be surprised.